And so we didn't have heating, no AC, nothing like that. You get super hot in the summer, and because we're coastal, it gets sometimes very cold in the winter, and then you get like a little pot of incense going, which mostly the job of it is to help warm you up. But these coals is pretty much frying your lungs, and indoor air pollution. People don't think about it, but we do this because we need to warm ourselves up. And so, in any case, I'm seeing this, and I'm thinking to myself, you gotta be kidding me, right? And then it was like that about the shower. It was like that about the grocery store, where there was more types of breads and apples than my little brain could count. It was like that about the roads, the paved roads, where back home it was never paved, and my feet were always dusty. I would always have to wash back and forth when I come in, and it was just so bizarre. I couldn't understand the discrepancy between this. I didn't know the words back then, but I sensed it. I felt it. It felt like, how come life feels so easy here, and back home it's like, huh? So, and I was obsessed. I needed to know because the difference was too big. And eventually, so my question went from how come they have this and we don't, to how come some countries like mine and so many in Africa are poor while others are rich. So that's pretty much when that question started in my mind, Andreas, and I needed to get it answered. And I never let go of the question. It was obsessive. And eventually, the pursuit to the response to that question is the reason why I eventually became very serious about economics. As I learned, and again, I didn't start knowing about all of these ideas because I read Hayek or I read Friedman or I read any other topical classics. It's just my own life journey made me to see the discrepancies later when I became an entrepreneur in Africa trying to do business and comparing it to trying to do business to doing business in America versus,
You were
yeah, I
living
was
it.
living it. And then when I saw the discrepancy in what would call the ease of doing business between the two places, I first thought, oh, it's because we're poor that it's so hard to do business in my country, and it's because they're rich that it's so easy to do business in rich nations. Well, the minute you say that, you think to yourself, wait a second, you're poor because you don't have enough money. You don't have enough money because you don't have a source of income. Our source of income for most of us is a job. Where do jobs come from? The private sector, businesses. Well, do we really believe that businesses happen in a vacuum? Do we really believe we're going to have as many businesses being created, therefore jobs and income being created in a place that makes it easy, like in rich nation, to do business, the same as in a place that makes it super hard, like in my country, to do business? I think not. And so when I saw that, I'm thinking, okay, is my country just like a unique situation? And it was through all of these questions that eventually I started to look at the evidence, and the empirical evidence matched almost data for data. What is it that I was living as a human being, trying to do business and doing business because I wanted to create jobs and save my culture? And so when I discovered that, and then eventually it became the answer to my question came. Little 7-year-old Magatte finally had a question, has her answer. Africa is not poor because of racism, colonialism, slavery, natural resources being sold, laziness, low IQ. These are all the things that most people come up with, by the way, as to why Africa is poor. No, Africa is not poor because of any of those things. Africa is poor because it happens to be the most over-regulated region in the world. And that made sense. So poverty is solved by prosperity, not poverty alleviation. Poverty is solved by prosperity. Prosperity is built by entrepreneurs. Entrepreneurs need an enabling business environment.